Join me as I dive into a crazy challenge to uncover the wildest stories from inside a hospital that you won't believe. Hospitals are places where we go to heal and get better, but sometimes they can be hubs for mysterious and unexplained events. A hospital in a small town was faced with a mysterious illness that had doctors and nurses baffled. Patients were coming in with symptoms that didn't match any known disease, and the staff was struggling to find a cause. The hospital was filled with a sense of uncertainty and fear as no one knew what was happening. The challenge was to identify the source of the illness and find a cure before it was too late. Doctors and nurses were working around the clock to try and understand what was going on, but every lead they followed seemed to end in a dead end. The hospital's ICU was filled with patients who were all suffering from the same strange symptoms, and the medical team was doing everything they could to save them. As the days went by, the situation only seemed to get worse, and the hospital was on the brink of chaos. The hospital's administration was under a lot of pressure to find a solution, and they called in experts from all over the country to help them get to the bottom of the mystery. As the investigation continued, it became clear that the illness was not a disease at all, but something much stranger. Hospital staff and patients were interviewed, and their stories were all eerily similar. The patients all reported having similar dreams and visions before falling ill, and the staff reported strange occurrences on the wards at night. It was as if something was happening in the hospital that couldn't be explained by science. The hospital's history was also being investigated, and it was discovered that the building had once been a site for secret experiments. This revelation raised more questions than answers, and the mystery only deepened. The hospital's staff was left wondering if they were dealing with something paranormal, and the atmosphere in the hospital became increasingly tense. The most shocking twist in the story came when a patient reported seeing a ghostly figure in their room, and soon others began to come forward with similar stories. It became clear that the hospital was haunted by a malevolent spirit that was causing the illness. The revelation sparked a lot of debate, and some people didn't believe it, but the evidence was mounting. The hospital was forced to call in a team of paranormal investigators to help them get to the bottom of the mystery. The investigators discovered that the hospital was built on an ancient burial ground, and the spirit was that of a former patient who had died under mysterious circumstances. The spirit was seeking justice, and the only way to calm it was to uncover the truth about its death. The truth was finally uncovered, and the spirit was laid to rest, bringing an end to the mysterious illness that had plagued the hospital for so long. The story of the haunted hospital is a wild and scary one, and it just goes to show that sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction. The experience left the hospital's staff shaken, but it also taught them a valuable lesson about the importance of respecting the past. If you've got a story to share about a mysterious event, please let me know in the comments. And don't forget to check out my other video on the craziest hospital stories you won't believe. Echoes in the Scanai. The wing that time forgot. Kara Mason had worked the night shift at Wexley General Hospital for nearly 3 years, and in that time, she learned to ignore the odd sounds of a building that never truly slept. The groans of air ducts, the clicks of settling pipes, even the distant beeps from patient monitors that seemed to echo unnaturally down empty halls, all of it was white noise. But the East MRI wing? That was different. Officially decommissioned after the hospital's newer diagnostic center opened, the wing was still powered, still cleaned weekly, and sometimes without reason still opened. Kara had passed it often during her shift, feeling that subtle drop in temperature as she walked by. Nurses joked that the wing breathed, and more than once, people said they saw someone standing in the viewing bay's dark window, a pale face pressed against glass, eyes wide. Kara had laughed along, until the night she was told to escort a critical patient there because the main MRI machine was down, and the backup hadn't been calibrated in months. "We don't have a choice," her supervisor said. "It's that, or risk losing him." Kara took the clipboard with shaky hands, too. A patient with no name. The patient was already sedated, young, male, trauma case. No ID, found near the edge of town with multiple fractures and head injuries. As the elevator doors closed, Kara glanced at the file again. The intake name field was blank. She rolled the stretcher down the hallway. The moment the wheels touched the East Wing's linoleum floor, the silence swallowed everything. No humming lights, no HVAC, just an eerie hush. The MRI suite loomed ahead, the door unlocked. That wasn't protocol. Kara hesitated, one hand on the stretcher, the other on the door. She felt the cold before she opened it. Not AC cold, cellar cold. Grave cold. She turned on the lights. The room flickered to life, fluorescent bulbs stuttering above. The walls were yellowed with age. The changing area still had folded gowns neatly stacked on the bench. It smelled of antiseptic and mildew. She wheeled the patient in. That's when she noticed the mirror. It was positioned near the changing area, a warped, old thing too large for the space. And for a second, Kara could swear she saw herself, and someone else standing behind her. She spun. Nothing. 3. The scan. She helped the tech position the patient on the table. The machine rumbled to life, loud, clunky, outdated. But it worked. Then the intercom system crackled. "Kara?" She turned to the tech. "Yeah?" He looked up from the console. "I didn't say anything." She frowned. "You called my name." He shook his head. "Didn't touch the mic." The static returned, and through it, unmistakably, "Help me," the tech froze. "That wasn't you?" The voice came again, softer, dragged out through a blanket of static. "I can't move." The tech stopped the scan. "We need to check." Kara rushed to the MRI chamber. The patient was still unconscious, unmoving, vitals steady. But the voice hadn't come from the chamber. It came from inside the walls. 4. The woman in the gown. Later that night, Kara returned alone to gather supplies left behind. As she stepped into the suite, something shifted in the air, like stepping into a pressurized room. The lights flickered again. She turned toward the changing room and froze. There, in the mirror, stood a woman, hospital gown. Long dark hair. Eyes wide and hollow. Kara spun around. Empty. She looked back at the mirror. The woman was still there. Kara stumbled back, heart thudding in her throat. The mirror's surface clouded with condensation. Then, slowly, a phrase formed, "Don't leave me again." Kara backed out of the room, hands trembling. The hallway doors slammed shut behind her. The technicians break down the next day. The technician quit. No warning. Said he couldn't work with the dead anymore. Kara tried to ask what he meant. He just looked at her, eyes red, and whispered, "You heard her too, didn't you?" She nodded slowly. "She's still in there," he said. "I don't think she ever left the machine." 6. The forgotten record. Determined to make sense of it, Kara accessed old patient records. She cross-referenced MRI usage logs from years before the wing was shut down. One name kept appearing: Elena Moore. Same day. Same time. Multiple appointments logged. But no discharge notes. No death certificate. No transfer. She found one final entry, red flagged in the system. Subject vanished during scan. Equipment failure. Room quarantined. No further notes. No one had ever followed up. 7. The final encounter. Kara returned one last time. Alone, she stood before the machine. The lights now dimmed, the console powered off. The mirror reflected her, and again, Elena behind her. "I see you," Kara whispered. The lights shut off in the darkness. The intercom clicked. "It hurts." It never stopped hurting. The MRI machine powered on by itself, a low, grinding whine. The table slid out, empty, then someone began sliding onto it from the air itself. Pale arms. Long hair. Hollow face. Kara turned and ran. She didn't stop until she hit the ER, gasping, sobbing. The East Wing was permanently sealed the next morning. No explanation. 8. Echoes remain years later. New staff walk past the sealed doors of the East Wing and swear they hear the machine running inside. Others say a face sometimes appears in the old viewing window. Kara doesn't work at Wexley anymore. But sometimes she dreams of mirrors that breathe, and voices in static, and Elena's last words, "Don't lock me in again." Room 209. Whispers after midnight. St. Alden's ICU was always quiet after midnight. The hum of ventilators, the occasional beep of monitors, and the soft rustle of nurses passing by, these were the familiar lullabies of the graveyard shift. But that winter, something strange had begun to stir in room 209. Nurse Elena Ramirez had been working nights for 6 years. She'd seen death, delirium, and everything in between. But nothing prepared her for the voice. It started subtly. A whisper barely audible coming through the room's intercom speaker. The system wasn't in use. Room 209 had no patient. Elena had been updating charts at the nurse's station when she first heard it. "Hello?" She blinked, looked around. The hallway was empty. "Can you hear me?" Faint. Muffled. Female. She checked the intercom screen. Room 209's mic showed no activity. She stood, her heart thumping, too. The room no one stayed in. Room 209 had a reputation. Patients placed there always reported nightmares or claimed someone else was in the room with them. One patient pulled out his IVs screaming, "Get her out of here!" before flatlining hours later. After that, the room was used only when necessary. Some nurses avoided it completely. Alina never believed in hauntings, but she couldn't deny the pattern, and now it was empty, clean, locked. She walked down the hall, the lights above her flickering faintly. She stopped outside the door. "Please, let me out." It came again, clearer now. A desperate woman's voice. Alina unlocked the door and stepped inside. Three. A voice without a body. The room was dimly lit, untouched. The bed was neatly made. Machines powered off. No sign of anyone. She walked to the intercom speaker and listened. Silence. Then, "I'm still here." She stepped back. "Who's there?" Nothing. Alina checked the entire room, then the hall. She even asked the tech team to review the intercom logs. No audio detected. No system anomalies. They laughed it off. "You need more sleep." But that night, the voice returned. "You locked me in here. I never left." 4. The red file. Digging through archives, Alina found an incident report from 1996. A woman named Emily Crane, 33, had been admitted to room 209 for respiratory failure. She died after a failed intubation during a power outage. The nurse on duty left the room during the blackout. When the power returned, Emily was found on the floor. Vitals flatlined. Mouth open mid-scream. The nurse resigned days later. In the margins of the file, someone had handwritten, "She spoke after death." 3 of us heard her. "Don't reopen Arbeit 9." The static returns. Alina requested reassignment. Denied. The hospital was understaffed, so she stayed. And every night, the voice grew louder. "I can't breathe. Why did you leave me?" Then the voice began saying her name, Alina. One night, she walked into room 209 and found the intercom powered on by itself. No hands had touched it. The mic was glowing red. Live, and then she saw it, the shape in the glass reflection. Behind her, a woman with lifeless eyes and a torn hospital gown. Alina turned. No one there. 6. The last night she recorded the voice on her phone. Played it back. Nothing but static. But to her ears, in the room, it was real. Her final night shift came without warning. She entered 209 one last time to place linens. The intercom was already live. The lights buzzed, dimmed, and then, from the ceiling vent, a breathy whisper, "You left me to die." The door slammed shut behind her. Alina screamed, pounded on the door, and for the first time, the monitors turned on. Heart rate 33 BPM. Oxygen 0%. Patient name Emily Crane. Alina's voice joined the static. 7. Echoes in the walls. Alina didn't return to work. Her locker remained untouched. A new nurse took over her shift 2 weeks later. The intercom in room 209 crackled again. "Can you hear me?" A different voice now. "I'm still here."